Dr. Lindsay Anderson's expose of the English public, that is, private, school system is probably his best-known film. Anderson, one of the founders of the British free cinema movement, started as a documentarian, but If is a fictional narrative, albeit one immersed in a nearly tactile tangibility. Very much a 60s endeavor, the film is stylistically ambitious and thematically ambiguous, but also exceedingly unpleasant. Malcolm McDowell stars as Mick Travis, a rebellious boarder who, initially at least, expresses his resistance to social rigidity in trivial transgressions, like wearing a mustache or keeping his hair a tad longer than he should. As he is thwarted and punished by the brutal in-house bullies, however, his nonconformity takes on darker complexions, leading eventually to the film's infamously violent ending. Presumably meant as a warning that the repressive British educational and class system have the potential to explode into uncontrollable violence, If is nonetheless not entirely focused on the boys' indoctrination and victimization. Anderson decorates around the edges with puzzling, affected details, presumably meant as gestures of expressive freedom, without grounding them in anything deeper than the desire to demonstrate unconventional nous. The wife of one of the school officials inexplicably wanders the halls naked, for example, with no hint why beyond the shock value. Occasional pseudo-surrealist tidbits, like a stuffed alligator unearthed from the school basement, or the bizarre touch of having the chaplain sleep in a drawer in the headmaster's office, are tepidly humorous but conceptual cul-de-sacs. Such mannered eccentricities may be meant to distract from obvious, perhaps deliberate, plot holes, like Travis stealing a motorcycle and suffering zero consequences. McDowell pulls that off, and it is easy to see how If made him a star, but Travis's rebellious nature is more assumptive than compelling. The motorcycle sequence, for example, is clearly meant as a freewheeling alternative mood to the emotional suffocation in the school, but it doesn't demonstrate much about Travis that wasn't implicit from the beginning. None of his friends are any more complex either, including the girl, Christine Noonan, picked up at a local cafe. As for Travis's antagonists, they are cartoon nasties, fools, or well-meaning idiots. But is Travis's indiscriminate violence somehow preferable? Anderson seems to want to make a point, but what is it? He is like a scold wagging his finger without ever making clear what he is moralizing about. The longer the film drags on, the higher the deck is stacked, but to what end? Filmmakers have no obligation to be pleasant, but if you're going to wallow in the muck, you better be damn good at it. Anderson's haughty disapproval viewed down a long nose of complacent superiority is distasteful, because it is at best a product of the sadistic mentality and privilege he is exploiting in the guise of explaining. In other words, If repels and confuses because Anderson cannot admit he is part of what he excoriates.